think we made an impact. It's good to see him lose.
I want to ask you about Pennsylvania, because there's something of a different story there. Doug Mastriano has won the Republican nomination for governor there. And Mastriano, to call him an election denier is an understatement. I mean, this is a guy who worked as hard as he could to overturn the will of Pennsylvania voters in the 2020 election. So what does it tell you that he is the Republican nominee for governor now?
Well, it tells me that if, on my last kind of glad we beat, Madison Cawthorn, if you think that means we're winning this battle for the soul of the Republican Party, it's not true. I think there can be moments of victory, and I think this is going to be a long-term fight, really, for the soul of the whole country. In this case, look, you can look at this race, you can look at other races and say, it seems like there's almost a competition to see who can become even more crazy. And somehow now that is a litmus test of who is conservative. And that's why I think it's important for conservatives, for even moderates and liberals, to take back what being a conservative really means. It doesn't mean being an election denier. It doesn't mean blowing a shofar, the first time you start your campaign and then being pretty much there on January 6th. Being a conservative, we all know what it used to mean. It means you want to spend a little less money and empower people. It doesn't mean you deny elections. So, look, this will be a long-term fight for the soul of this country, and particularly the soul of the party.
Congressman, this is the first time we've had a chance to talk to you since the massacre in Buffalo. There are 10 people killed because they were shopping in black. And the shooter, it seems, was motivated by white replacement theory, this crazy offensive notion that white people in this country are under threat from minorities, of replacing them. You've called on your own House leadership to say more about this. What are you asking for specifically? How responsible do you feel that some leaders are for creating sort of this environment?
Well, what I'm asking for is just spit out the cancer. There was a day, Steve King used to be a member of Congress from Iowa, and he made some racist comments, and we basically kicked him off his committees. Today, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like Matt Gaetz, Mo Brooks, the folks you think about, they are almost leading. Well, I would argue that they are leading the Republican caucus. And so Kevin McCarthy, Elise Stefanik, instead of leading, as their title, leadership, should suggest they do, they basically are tolerating this all in the name of hopefully I become speaker someday. And what happens, John, is did they pull the trigger? No. Did they call this guy up and tell him to do it? Of course not. But when we as a party or a movement, or people like, frankly, Tucker Carlson, throw out these theories, or just fish in the waters of white replacement theory, or echo some of those kind of fear-based things, you can't be surprised when some people take that to the level of going and massacring people. You just can't. You can't fundraise, you can't feed, you can't live on fear, because eventually you're going to create fearful people, and fearful people can do really bad things. And I think that's what we saw in Buffalo.